Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be around the world. Welcome to this short expo, which is about demonstrating a great tool from Cambridge Assessment English. My name is Simona Petrescu, and I work in teacher support and learner support in Europe, and I'm based in Germany right now. It's a sunny day, and I'm very happy to be with so many people in so many different places. I'm going to demonstrate to you today a free tool, as I said, called Weekly. During my short presentation, of course, please use the chat to share any feedback, any comments, but if you could try to use the Q&A box in case you have questions to me, and I have colleagues also who might help me answer your questions. So if you have content questions about the tool, please place them in the Q&A box. It's easier for us to spot them and get back to you. So we will try to answer your questions, whether they're in any comments in the chat box or in the Q&A box as we move along, but some of them will be kept for the final Q&A session. So let's get started. Weekly is a website, so it's not an app. It's a website that is absolutely free to use, and it's basically an exam preparation course planner for 3 of our Cambridge English exams. I'll show you in a minute which. And it helps you plan the individual lessons in your course, especially when you don't have time to work through the entire course book, or when you don't use a course book, but something like practice tests or trainer. Now, we all know as teachers, when we're starting an exam preparation course, we need to make sure that we cover everything that is part of the final exam so that our students are prepared for everything that may come up. But that is rarely possible because in most cases, we don't have enough time to, for example, work through the course book page by page. On the other hand, if we start skipping sections or even units from the course book, we are getting worried, wondering if and how much skipping we can afford. That is why it's always a good idea to start from a course plan, where you look at the content that needs to be covered, that is the specific exam, at the total time you have available, and then select and prioritize what to include in which lesson, how often, and how much weight to give to one or another exam paper or even task format, depending on the needs of your students and the difficulties that you know they have. Then, once we created such a plan, we go to our course book and we can start selecting content that matches our plan step by step. So let me show you, this is exactly what Weekly can do. I'll share with you my screen. There we go. I hope you can see it. So this is the website that where Weekly is hosted. You can see in the, I hope you can see the URL. If not, you will find it very easily when you watch the recording. So it's weekly.cambridgeenglish.org. So this is very simple. If I'm scrolling a bit further down, first you choose, of course, the exam that you're preparing your students for. I'm going to choose, so you can see here that at the moment we offer such support for A2 key for schools, B1 preliminary for schools, and B2 first for schools. I'm going to choose B1 preliminary for schools. And when you select this, the Weekly will know what content you need. So it's the same as what I mentioned before. First, you look at all the content that you need to cover. The next step, of course, is to look at the timing or the time that you have available, your budget, so to speak. So you can select a number of weeks. Let's say I'll select here 10 weeks, and let's say I have something like an hour and a half per week. So this is the next step that I mentioned above. First of all, you choose the exam and you look at the content, everything that needs to be covered, and then you look at the time. This is exactly what Weekly does. And then the planning exercise is done by Weekly itself, and you don't have to worry about filling the individual slots of the lessons in your plan anymore. Now, before I show you what plan we can generate, what the plan looks like, I'm going to make one comment on the length of the course that you allocate from this starting point. If your course, if you enter too short time, for instance, only 6 weeks and let's say 1 hour, let me change that to only 1 hour. You will get a smaller, a thinner, if I can say so, course plan, but I'm going to show it to you anyway because I'll come back to this element later on. You can see here that what is indicated is called own content. What that means is that if you go there, because the lessons are short, there are suggestions of further apps or platforms that we have, that we offer to you teachers, which you can integrate in your lessons. So things like Write and Improve to practice and improve writing. Learning English are the learner resources on our website, or a free app for your learners, levels B1, B2, to use Quiz Your English. But the plan, the course plan, doesn't get more specific simply because the time you entered was a bit too limited. So there wasn't enough for Weekly to start really giving you the full range. So if I enter here 12 weeks and I say we've got an hour and 15, I build my plan, and suddenly the tool is asking me, oh, we've got now enough time. We can also start thinking of prioritizing. Do your learners have particular difficulties with a specific exam part? Then you can move the priority exam paper or exam component to the top. Let's say I want to have a focus on speaking and on use of English, and the rest can stay the same. And then I build my plan. So I click here, and what I have is a plan overview. Now I'm going to switch windows because I already have an exam, a course plan saved, which I'd like to show you. Okay, right. So we are already here. You can see that I'm here logged in. Now, what I have done? I have switched between a window where I was not registered, where I was an incognito user, to one where here I am a registered user. You can use Weekly if you want without any registration. You can still create your plan and print it out. Basically, this is what you can do with it. But if you want to be able to save it, to maybe get back to it and adapt it, to reuse it for the next course, or use other functionalities that I'm going to show you, then you need to register. But registration is really very simple. You only need to enter your name, your email address, and a password, and that is all. And then you have your account where you can save and create as many course plans as you wish. Okay, but here we are in the plan, in the course plan overview. So you can see all my weeks here are listed with the individual content suggested for that week. And you can see in some lessons, I have 2 exam components. There is a strong focus on speaking, it seems. And towards the end here, we have an exam sample paper and something that will be for the end of the course I'm going to show you in a second. So I'm going to choose, let's choose week 3 to go inside and see what it looks like. So now I'm in week 3. First of all, you can see that I've got these 2 components, speaking and reading and writing. Inside each component, you have a PDF, which is the lesson plan, and you also have a time indication for you to know during your lesson how much time you're expected to spend using this particular resource, this particular lesson plan. So it helps you plan the time of your lesson as well. Against this material here on the right hand side, you've got a brief description of what this lesson plan is about, what are the main objectives of this lesson plan, and what, in very brief terms, what the students are doing. So you can see that the students will look at part 1, sample task in speaking, they discuss what they have to do, they do an exercise on how to give full answers, and then they role play part 1 in pairs. So from this, just at a very quick glance, you get to see what this resource is all about before you actually click on it. And then you open the resource. The resource is on our website. You can also find it if you go straight to our website and you start searching in the teaching resources section. But here it is integrated and you have direct access to it. So here you have the PDF of the lesson plan, which you can download, print, or even share by copying a link that takes your colleagues, for example, straight to the same material. You've looked at this material, at this lesson plan, and you have some options here. You may decide, well, I'm not really going to do it now in week 3. Let me do it right at the start. Let me do it in week 1. I can put it to, move it to week 1, for example. I may decide I want to skip this item. I don't think I've got enough time to focus on it this week, or I can again share it. So you've got these 3 options. And of course, similar information you've got in reading and writing. In this particular case, you are again given the suggestion to use, because there is short time left in your lesson. Most of the time of your lesson in this case has been taken up by speaking. So for the 15 to 20 minutes left, you can use the free app Exam Lift for B1 Preliminary for Schools, just to have something to add on to the speaking activity. Okay, so I mentioned that there are other functionalities in Weekly that you can use if you create an account. For example, as you can notice here, Weekly, you can use Weekly also as a course management tool, similar to a very simple, very basic learning management platform, where you have the specific overview of what you teach, when, and even if you see here how far you are into the course, it shows you here that you are in week 3 at the top of this page. And as you move along, you will get a very graphic representation of how far you are into the course. You can enter here the exact date of your lesson if you want to keep a very strict record of your course, and including the course content, but also the timetabling aspects. And you can also, at the end, when the lesson is done, you can also click on completed here in this box. So I'm clicking on completed, and then the next time I open the course plan, it shows me that that is already completed. I can move on to week 4. Another very useful, maybe even more useful functionality that you have in Weekly is these weekly notes. So this makes Weekly even into a sort of diary, a teacher diary, if you want to record how the lesson went, which activity worked. And this is for you to help or to support you in designing future preparation courses, or to set learning goals or teaching and learning goals for the next lesson or for the next couple of lessons. Or you may make such weekly notes under each week, under each session of your course in preparation, so before the lesson took place, if you want to record that you'd like to focus on something in particular. So you can also use Weekly as a tool to record and reflect on aspects that went well, or plan Bs in case something doesn't work, and so on. You can even change here at the top, you can change the name of your course plan, and that might sound like something very small, but it does help you in case you use Weekly later on to see, this was a course that I did. If you rename this course as B1 September, October 2020, this is a course I did last year, for example, or this is a course that I created for 12 weeks. Let me call it like that, B1 12 weeks. And next time I need to design a similar course, I know that this is a plan that I can reuse if my course is also 12 weeks or similar. But if my course is 6 weeks or 20 weeks, then I need to create a new one. So the other thing that I wanted briefly to point out is, of course, you notice that this is a course planning tool, but it also supplies content. So it doesn't just help you with the timetabling. It supplies also the materials, the content, the content that you can use. And this is great because Weekly centralizes here or integrates resources from various sections of our website, or even from outside our website, like the platforms that I showed you at the beginning, that they were included there as a suggestion to use Write and Improve, or the apps that we have for learners. So you might decide to do a search every week to search for free resources, but it's easier if you have a weekly course plan that pulls all these resources together, and you have something to go with in your lesson. There are also, I'm going to go to week 2. There are also some other resources which are called Support for You. These are not necessarily teaching resources, but here you can see this is a speaking assessment teacher's guide. This is not something that you're going to use in class, maybe with your students, or you may decide to do it as well, but primarily this is for you to understand assessment better. So it's a support material for you as a teacher. Now, to conclude, you will realize that Weekly does not replace a course book. It's best used in conjunction with a course book. It only helps you navigate through the course book in order to select the right content at the right time to make sure you've got the proper balance. And it also offers you a central gateway to the free resources that Cambridge English offers for teachers. However, such resources are best used with a course book as a further option. Weekly is not designed to provide full course content, but it does help you do 3 things. It helps you plan, first of all. It helps you reflect on how the preparation course goes. And it also helps you use some extra materials now and then if you prefer with your learners. So as you can see, it's easy to use. The functionalities are very useful, I think, for teachers. The interface and the navigation are very intuitive and clean. And the next time you log in, for example, where is that? Oh, I switched to another. The next time you log in, let me log in. You have here an overview, a list of all the course plans you have. The moment you add another course plan, it will be listed here. So everything will be really very easy to see, very easy to find, and recover and retrieve at a glance. I hope that was useful. I hope you will use Weekly and enjoy using it. And I'm looking forward to some questions if there are.
Yes, so Simona, we've had some amazing questions. And so thank you so much for a great session. So lots of the questions have been around how much the Weekly costs. So can you just confirm if it costs anything at all?
That's a very easy question to answer. Yes, it costs absolutely nothing. There is no additional service that may cost something extra. Everything is free of charge.
Great, that's great. What we love to hear. And then one of the other questions was around if we're planning on adding any other exams to Weekly, so younger learner exams such as A1 level, or maybe even business or IELTS exams at all.
So as far as I'm aware, we are in the process of expanding this to the lower levels, to the young learners tests, levels pre-A1, A1 and A2.
Great. And then we've had some other questions. So Paula asked if the plans will show aims and objectives as well.
At the level of the whole plan, not exactly. Let me share it again.
Great, thank you.
But it will show, as I said, it will show against each lesson plan. So if you go here, you can see a plan overview. You can even switch the views and go here to plan listing view, if that helps you more. So you have here a sort of list, maybe that provides a better overview if you like. But the moment you, let me get back to the other one. The moment you open a week and you see the speaking material, for example, you see here a brief description of the main objective of that material and what, more or less, in very brief terms, what it includes.
Great, that's really, really helpful. We had another question from Maria, and she was asking how many weeks do we need to add to the plan for it to work? Are there a minimum number of hours that you need for the plan to work?
What I have experimented with has shown me that for a number of 8 to 10 weeks, if you also enter a bit longer than 1 hour, then it will provide such an overview of several components with lesson plans. Otherwise, it will show, because if you enter just 45 minutes, let's say, or 1 hour, it's very difficult to plan that. But you can always expand or extend a little bit the time frame so that you get a broader proposal of more resources. So there is, I don't think there is a specific barrier, but you may play around and see what happens with 6 weeks or 12 weeks and so on.
Great. And I think we've just got time for one more question. So Adriana asked if the information is kept private, and that's right, isn't it, Simona? You can save your plan.
That's right. This is fully your account, and you're responsible how and what you share. Sharing is only possible by means of copying a link to a specific course plan or to a specific resource, which is anyway on the internet, which is outside of your account, like the teaching resources or Write and Improve. But you are the only one that has access to it and may share the lesson plan or the course plan itself.
Great, thank you so much. So thank you so much for a really informative session. I think everyone's really enjoyed that. And a reminder, I think we've shared a link to Weekly in the chat box, and we'll also include that on the description in YouTube when we upload this to YouTube after. So thank you so much for your time, Simona. We really
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much, and thank you so much for your questions and for attending and for your interest, and hopefully you'll go back to Weekly very soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.